Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another day. I like this song, so I'm just gonna let this ride for a minute. So today we will be talking about, or continuing on with part two of making me a priority. I posted the first video yesterday, um, and God just kind of placed it in my spirit that there was more to be said. So we're going to delve into that um, this morning. All right, I have to let that stop, but I really like that song. It's kind of dope. So, if you caught my video yesterday, then you know that I started off talking about prioritizing me, making me a priority. And I just kind of touched on the surface of that, of how it was something that I had to learn, and I had to adjust in myself as far as making me a priority. A lot of us don't do that, especially us moms and wives, and because we have careers and activities and just so much going on. A lot of times, what we need to do for ourselves um, kind of gets lost. So, sometimes making yourself a priority is easier said than done. Um, I know for me, I have a servant's heart. So I naturally fall into helping others. It's so easy for me um, to just jump in and when I see a need and just go for it and do whatever I can to help. It just is a part of my natural makeup, and that's not a bad thing. Um, I just have to learn how to do it in a more healthy way, so that it doesn't become a burden to me, or hinder my growth and my evolution. Um, but when I wanted to get to the root of why I have such a servant's heart, not only is it a God-given trait, um, I had to get to the root of why it was such a dominating trait for me. And 2020 was a good and a bad thing. I believe that God was just trying to get everybody's attention, and so He just took out all the distractions and shut everything down to force us um, to pay more attention to ourselves and what He was requiring of us and what He wanted for the world, and to look at everything that was going wrong, and a lot of what was going right. So I took 2020. Um, because some really major life shifts happened for me prior up into 2020, and then some I walked into 2020 with, and it caused me to just kind of take a step back and pay attention to me. I had to really take that hard, long look at myself, um, to kind of figure some things out, and figure out where I was going, what I was going to do with myself, um, and the things that really just made me happy. But I had to deal with the things that made me sad first. So when I started to look at myself, um, I realized that my that dominant trait in me, that servant's heart, um, it became so dominant because as a child I began to use it, not just in a good way, but in a way to gain the things that I thought I didn't have, or the things that I lacked in my life. And I realized that people were receptive, more receptive to that. So, I had a lot of unresolved traumas um, in my life and from my childhood, and I carried those things into my adulthood. And being a people pleaser was one of them. So when your servant's heart crosses over into an extreme nature, is no longer a servant's heart. You are now a people pleaser. And for people who have that, they tend to lose themselves in that trait. So, as a child, because my home life was so just all over the place, I didn't really have a lot of structure. I basically was kind of, doing it on my own. What little bit foundation that I did have, I got from my grandparents, my grandmothers. I have some great uncles and aunts who definitely stood in the gap when my parents couldn't do it. But for the most part, I came to a lot of conclusions on my own. I, created a lot of narratives because I was left to my own devices a lot. So I learned early on that people were more receptive to a helper. So I became an extreme helper because I had this innate desire to belong and be accepted. And that desire kind of propelled me into an extreme version of servitude, which creates people pleasing. um, but it was just not being done in the proper way. And so, because my service was not, I was not using my my gift in the proper way, it caused me to abandon me because I was so focused on helping everybody else. I was so focused on making sure that everybody around me, or everybody I came in contact with, or that I, had any emotional attachment to, I was so um, hell on making sure that they were all okay because I desired their love and their acceptance, um, and just to belong. And in the process of that, I just made myself a doormat, and everything that belonged to me, the things that I should have been nurturing for myself, I didn't do that. I didn't do it because I was too focused on everybody else. Even when I had children, I would, I mean, and all parents say this, that they would just lay down and die for their children, but I literally shut my life down to just make sure that they had the best life possible. And I forgot about me. And not that I didn't have some good times and my life wasn't, uh, great after a certain point, but I was still, that dominating force was the service. Um, and as I got older, it became more involved, and it got worse. I completely dedicated myself to my community. I was active in my church. Anything that was of service, I was I was in it. I was on it. I made myself a promise as a kid that I would be the person I always needed, and I allowed that one promise, um, as an adult, to just kind of take over, and so it turned into a different version of service. Um, and it just kind of, I lost a lot of time. Um, I lost a lot of time with doing things that I could have been doing, um, for me, to develop me, the things that made me happy, my hobbies, my career goals, my dreams, my aspirations. Um, and I allowed those things to go by the wayside. Um, I just was, I became so engrossed in that, that my own value began to decrease. And that is never a good thing. But until I sat down and got down to the root of me, um, I didn't see it. I wasn't even aware of it. So, um, I kind of started to realize that a lot of what I was doing, almost nothing that I was doing, was actually nurturing me. I was just so busy mothering and nurturing everybody else, the community mom, Shalom mom, as the kids affectionately call me. And I don't regret it because kids are great. The people's lives that I touched, um, God was always in the midst. I just needed to do it in a more healthy way. Um, so, what you have, there's some things that what you do, um, you have to start asking yourself questions. Like I had to ask myself questions. What do you have to truly call your own that is not linked to someone else? I'm gonna sip this again. Because when I asked myself that question, baby, the reality of that answer was like devastating because it wasn't much. Everything in my life was intertwined and linked to other people and my children and my husband and my job, but nothing was personally mine that I nurtured, that I developed, that, was for me, something that I desired to do. And because of that, I also ignored the call on my life. So, and here's God in my ear telling me, I'm calling you to do a thing, but you're so engrossed in doing this. And although you think that you are pleasing me by doing these things, you are, but you aren't. Because first and foremost, your loyalty needs to be to me and you need to be obedient to me, but you chasing this. So I'm gonna need you to bring it on back full circle and get back to the center of things and get in right alignment with me so that we could do this thing the right way. Um, and he assured me that what you're doing was not wrong. It just was not in a healthy way, and you need to be more focused on what I say and not how people feel. And that was a big change, and a big process because it had become such a natural part of my makeup. You're talking about from a child. I'm now a 40-plus-year-old woman, coming to this realization. How do you change, over 40 years of a certain behavior? Um, and one step at a time. That's how you do it. You do it one step at a time. And that's what I did. I took every day was one step at a time. I wrote everything down. I went back and I read it and I really identified, and it took for me to be honest with myself about how I felt about myself, and how I could improve how I felt about me for me to move forward and get to where I needed to be. um, Unresolved, I realized that, although I had acknowledged the traumas in my life, and from my past, I had never really actually dealt with them, and healed from them. And unresolved traumas will influence our behaviors. Those traits will manifest in such unhealthy ways, but you don't even realize it because you're just going through the motions. Um, you know, and so for me, this was an unhealthy manifestation of my trauma. Time had not healed the wounds. Um, and now that I recognize the root of the behavior and the trauma it stemmed from, I had to deal with it and start the healing process. And that's where you all come in. I am sharing my healing process with you. I realized that I had created such unhealthy expectations of me in the minds of others. And let me tell you, I couldn't for the life of me figure out why people would, get upset with me when I just wasn't able to do a thing. Or, it just didn't work out like I anticipated for it to work out. And, you know, people would like be upset with me and I'm like, but I do so many other things. I'm super accommodating. And this one time that I'm just not able to do it because I am human, or I didn't plan properly for time, and I didn't plan for the for Murphy's law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now I'm the enemy. I'm a bad person, or you're questioning my integrity, or I just don't, I'm unprofessional, or I'm just not a good friend. And that was very hurtful because I knew in my heart that I did everything that I could to accomplish what was asked of me, as I had always done. And I became angry and bitter, but God corrected me. They treat you like that because you allowed it. You created the narrative that you can and will do any and everything that anybody asks you to do at whatever cost. And you created that narrative. And because you've been doing it for so long, yes, people have come to expect this of you. And when you can't deliver, oh well. And so that was something that I had to correct in myself and understand that they were not to blame. I set that standard and I allowed it to be perpetuated. And I never set healthy boundaries. And so that was something else that I had to add to my list to correct. It's okay to help people. It's okay to be, to have a servant's heart. However, you have to set healthy boundaries and realistic expectations, not just for yourself, but about yourself to other people so that they don't expect more than what you are capable of giving. Because sometimes we do. Moms wear that S on our chest. We are our children's superheroes, the people that we love. We try, but that fall from grace is so hard and heavy because there will come a time when you just won't be able to do it. And unfortunately, not everybody around you will be receptive to your inability to follow through. And that's just that. So to avoid that, set realistic goals for yourself. Set realistic time constraints and offer or provide whatever service or help that you're going to offer and provide. Offer it within reason, but making sure that it is not interfering with you, not harmful to you, um, and realistic for you, because you know human nature is human nature, and that's that. So I had to be mindful of that and recognize a few things, and God definitely um corrected a lot in me when it came to that. Like I said, he definitely reminded me that I did this. This is the narrative you've set. This is the narrative you've set for years, and now these are the consequences of you setting that narrative. But it's never too late to correct it. And I'm walked into 2021 knowing that I am a priority. um, and I'm more honest with myself about my limitations and my humanness. I am a human being. I am his God's imperfect perfection, and I can only do whatever I can do within my humanness, um, unless God opens a supernatural window and lets me fly through it. Um, and He is capable. So you know, I thought, and as I thought about these things, I was really like, sis, you had to really, really, really be out of your mind to do some of the things that you did. Like, did you really set those kind of expectations on yourself? Child, running around here stressed. I have gray hair all up in here, and I'm only 42. Let's get some dye. Um, but I did, and because I'm a love bug, and I just want everybody around me to be happy. But now I'm going to love on me, and my self care and what makes me happy, and the things that I need are going to take the priority. And the only thing that's going to come above that is my relationship with God. But to me, that's part of my self care, and that's always a priority. And I'm okay with that. And, if for whatever reason that you walking on water is a requirement for friendship, but child, that is not a friendship that you need. Because nobody should put those kind of expectations on anybody. Um, but if people around you make you feel like that's what you have to do, find you somebody else, baby. Go and find you some new friends and people to talk to, because them ain't the people for you. Okay? And I'm gonna leave that right there. Um, I've learned the value of me. I'm worthy of being a priority for me. I no longer place undivided expectations on others, and I no longer allow them to place them on me. I'm a person. I matter. I am worth it. And guess what? I'm capable. Um, I made a decision when I walked into 2021 that I was going to walk in the victory of God's promise for me. And even if I had to walk alone, but I won't do it spending another moment dimming my light so everybody else around me could shine. And that was a big thing and a strong statement coming from me, because I'm the person that would let you stand on my back to get to where you need to be. And sow into you and make sure that your dreams are accomplished. Um, and that's okay. I'm still going to do that, but it just won't be at the expense of my back, and my mental health and my physical health, because I am the priority. And so in this season, I am moving a little different. I'm healthier. I am more focused. I am more aware, and I understand the value of me. And that's an awesome thing because a lot of us don't understand that. We just don't have it because we have allowed the traumas of our past, present, current, um, to overshadow that thing that really lives on the inside of us and make us feel other than, um, who we really are. You have to know who you are. You have to love you. You have to value you and know that, you matter, and the things that you desire and you dream of are just as important as the things that people around you dream of and find important, and their goals. There is room for everybody. There's room for all of us. God has made room for all of our gifts. If he hadn't, he wouldn't have given them to us all. We all have different gifts, different levels of gifts, and that's what makes us unique, in all ways. Because who wants to be a carbon copy of the next person? And that was a lesson that I had to learn, that I had to be okay with my uniqueness. I'm quirky. Um, I have, I like to laugh, um, and I've embraced my flaws and all. Like, I'm flawed, and I say that a lot, but I'm favored. And God saw fit to use me just like he will see fit to use anybody else. Um, and that scared me for a little while because I was like, ooh, I'm not what ministry looks like. He said, well, yeah, you are the way that I need you to be. Um, and so I'm stronger today than I was yesterday. Every day will be a process. Some days will be good, some days will be bad, and that's okay. And when I feel like those old habits are coming back, then I will get into my prayer closet and have a conversation with the Lord and figure that out. I will write it down, and go back and read the things that I've written to understand and be reminded of where I've come from. Um, I'm not going to change who I am, but I'm going to change how I operate. Um, and I will evolve, but those core values, those good things, are the things that I want to hold on to. I'm not going to allow um, my missteps and my lessons to change my heart. That I pray all the time to keep the same. Um, but there are some things and habits that I am going to have to break and change because they are rooted in my childhood traumas and they're just not healthy. And those are the things that um, I will continue to share with you all um, as this process of this blog and podcast moves along. Um, it will definitely evolve. Eventually, there will be more of a live interaction, but for now, I'm comfortable with pre-recording. Um, this is new for me, and it is nerve-wracking, and I'm driving my family nuts. Um, but I'm happy to be doing it. I'm happy to be finally doing something for me that makes me smile, that still encompasses me being of service, still helping and sewing into people and sharing my story, being more candid, because I feel like there's a lack in that. A lot of people um, are looking for somebody to be honest with them. That yeah, I go through things. Um, my life is not perfect, not by a long shot, but it's mine. And you are not alone in your experiences. There are people out there who are going through some of the same things you're going through, and they're surviving. And I think that is the best way for me to encourage and empower people, and a whole other generation that's coming up underneath us. They need to know what they're up against. They need to know what our experiences were, to some degree, and how we came. through them. And no, everything is not for everybody. You pick and choose. You are welcome to pick and choose what you share, but share. Um, let them know that life is real. It's not just an Instagram, Facebook picture, and a bunch of likes. That experiences that you've had will carry over into your adult life, and how you deal with those things um, will definitely dictate to some degree the kind of life that you live. And do you want to be free, or do you want to be bound? And I don't want to be bound anymore. I don't want to be bound by anybody's image or perception of me. I'm not going to be bound by anybody's feelings of how I should operate or what I should be. Um, I am okay being me. I am an ordinary girl who just wants to do extraordinary things in the kingdom of God and in the world. Um, I mean that wholeheartedly, that I want to be the person that I needed when I was younger. And I'm going to hold to that, and I'm going to keep my promise. And every day, I'm just going to keep trying and do a little more. So this is just part of that. I thank you for watching. I thank you for joining me. We'll catch you again at another time. Um, Still working out a schedule for this, because I do have a lot of other things going on in my life right now. Look out for the book. Um, she Emerged, the Manifestation of Me. Prayerfully, it will be coming out in June 2021. It is my first written work. Um, it is the highlight reel of specific traumas in my life that I share with you, and how I got through them, how they affected my life, first of all, and how I worked through them. Um, and so I pray that it will help somebody, empower, and encourage you along the way. Check out my sister, Tamita Brockington, authors Brock, and her new book, Marriage is Not a Fairy Tale. It is on sale now. Um, Her website is, let me get that because I had it up and then I let it go away. Tamita Brockington.wixsite.com / website, and it is on sale now. It is an awesome read. I have it, and it really is a great read. Um, Something to definitely, even if you're not married and you're a wife in waiting, to really, take a look at that book and take some of the nuggets from it. Um, Look out for She 2021. Launch the vision. I am not just selling you a dream. I'm living the dream. This is the vision that God gave me. This is part of the vision that he gave me, and I am walking in this thing with you, and I am launching my visions all 2021. I'm going for it. Win or lose, as long as God's got his hands on me, I cannot fail. So this is the vision, and I'm launching it, and I'm encouraging you to launch the vision. So join us on February 27th at 4:30 p.m. via Zoom, um, to listen to. We have the Mighty Seven. Some speakers from the Mighty Seven, or all the Mighty Seven, will be on there. This year, we have a new great addition, Pastor Nancy Jackson from United Kingdom Ministries. She is an awesome, 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 awesome force and prophetic. Um, we have Minister Deborah Davis, who will be our mistress of ceremonies and helping us with prayer. And I promise you, you will not leave empty. We are going to walk you through um, the vision and how to from A to Z. And I pray that when you leave there, you will leave poured out, but recharged to run out and launch your vision. This is 2021. Uh, Launch the vision. Don't sit on it any longer. Go walk, move forward in it, and understand and know that you are capable. Even in your brokenness, you are capable. You are beautifully broken. Um, and God can and will still use you. Uh, March 13th, Pastor Ebony Baker Rivera, my sister, will be doing her story for Women's History Month. Um, honoring some great women in the kingdom. So check that out. That will also be a virtual experience. The flyer is on my webpage, www.savedhealedandenough.com. Check it out. There's also my written blog on there and a link to my podcast and updates about any upcoming programs. And our sister spotlight, women that are doing awesome things in the world and in the kingdom. So check that out. Be sure to check out Uncanny Conversation with Reverend Farrah Major every Wednesday at 8 p.m., which I believe this week she is doing a financial segment. But be sure to check that out on Facebook. Um, she definitely brings on some amazing guests that we can all use some information in this season to really gain our independence and move forward in life and in business. But again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I love you. I can't wait to do this again. And remember, the sun rises alone every day and it still manages to shine, right? I am my priority, even if I have to walk alone. Prioritize you like I'm prioritizing me. You're worth it. Bye.